Right, hi guys. Thanks a million for joining this week's episode with Lisa Novak, all the way from Australia. There was a slight time difference for the pair of us, but we eventually got on. Lisa has been awarded the most innovative woman in real estate in 2009 by Ori B, and the top 50 most influential people in real estate by Elite magazine. Lisa is well known and awarded for one of the top agents in the country for selling for record prices in record time across multiple different platforms, and often for $0 marketing spend to vendors. Lisa's vision for the future is to continue to change the face of real estate and expand on the company's accomplished team of the finest men and women in the industry across to fulfill people's dreams and expectations of all aspects of the property sphere, right across residential, commercial, and off-plan real estate. Lisa, you're very welcome, and thanks again for jumping on with us. I know the time delay, it's the evening over there. So thank you very much. And how are you keeping today?
Good. Another nice busy day.
Good.
All good. Thanks for the intro.
No problem at all. No problem at all. I hope it didn't butcher it too badly. So how's the market performing over there, and what are some lessons you could maybe give to agents across Europe? As you know, there's probably a slight shift in the way you're doing business.
Yeah, definitely. Look, the market's really stabilised. I mean, everyone took a hit during COVID and every country had different obstacles to overcome. I think we were one of the fortunate countries here in Australia. Things didn't come to a grinding halt as they did in much of the world. So we were still able to function as a business and also as an agent. So we were still allowed to do our one-on-one open homes. And look, I think what was really different with us and with our business and me as an agent is that we've always been quite innovative as an agency. So always, you know, particularly in the last couple of years, Kenneth, we've done a lot of social media and a lot of video content. It was almost like we were set up for a pandemic in many respects. So,
Brilliant.
you know, we had our head around video content and social media and, you know, we built a large engagement across those platforms, which certainly came in very useful during COVID, that's for sure.
So brilliant. So that you had the foundation set up so that when you transitioned into we were only talking about this yesterday, that the agents that embraced it pre-COVID were the ones that were actually, the foundation was set during COVID. How important for you is your own personal brand and for the guys within your team?
So it's changed a lot over the last couple of years. We run our own agency. So Mark, my husband, and myself run our own agency, and we have done so for over 18 years. And it's funny because what's changed, particularly in the last couple of years, is that agents have really been able to step up and have their own brand. We always used to say, you've got to fly the flag of the company and you've got to always make sure that the branding's on point with the company. That's kind of a little bit old school now, isn't it? You kind of a brand within your own brand. And so what I'm finding as an agent is that if you don't have your own brand and that identity, still with the branding of the business, no doubt, that you kind of might be left behind, you know?
No, it's a really, really valuable point, and I'm constantly saying it.
Yeah, it's really important. It is really important these days to have your brand and have your own identity. And I think, you know, vendors these days really will ring into the office looking for an appraisal. Generally, they're going to go straight directly to the agent. And it's usually the agent that's got the largest profile in the area, Kenneth, however that may look.
It's a great point, and it's so easily you can hide behind a brand, and then, you know, I'm seeing guys across different industries at the moment in Ireland. There's huge unemployment after coming out the back of COVID, and they've maybe made redundant or unemployed, and they've hid behind a brand for so long, and then they see, right, well, what am I going to do now with my own personal brand that I haven't built? Which kind of brings on to the next topic of, you know, how personal marketing has affected you over the last, obviously you've seen a huge transition over, you know, 18 years in business. How have you seen it grown, and where do you see it moving towards?
Yeah, so that's a really interesting question because I haven't always been in sales. I've only been in sales for just under 2.5 years now. I was always in the background of our business, so more of an administration role. For those 16 years that I was in that role, marketing and then general manager, there was so much that I saw that was really old-fashioned in the industry, so many things. And it wasn't really until I actually moved into sales that I realised that those observations actually were correct. The industry, I felt as a whole, has been really stuck in a time warp. And I really couldn't understand why a lot of agents didn't kind of have their own personal branding. And I still don't understand it, to be honest. When we've got these channels, social media, you can brand yourself for free. You don't even need to spend a fortune these days on video content. It's really just time and consistency. We've all got devices, iPhones, right? That we can work on our own personal brands for free. So, you know, what I've seen that has changed over the last couple of years is that, you know, social media has become a real thing. When I first started selling property off social media a couple of years ago, I was almost laughed at by people in the industry, like, how can you sell a property off Facebook? But it really resonated with me. It just made sense. You've got all the eyeballs here on a social media portal, and we've got property that needs to be sold. So if you just marry the two, it just made sense to me that you should be able to transact off those social media portals.
Brilliant. It's a really valuable point. And I you know, I believe more agents need to embrace it in Ireland.
Yeah.
You guys, I see in Australia as some, you know, the pioneers of tech and moving in that direction, I think, and embracing it. We had Kylie Davis on here who gave some great valuable tips on PropTech and how it was innovating, and the ones who are innovating are the ones that are actually doing more transactions.
100%. And I'm scared for the agents that aren't, because I truly do believe, my opinion is that they're going to get left behind. You know, there's definitely a place in real estate for the authenticity and, you know, that authentic agent that is still used to putting property onto the property portals. And don't get me wrong, I still 100% do that. But what I do is a pre-portal opportunity, getting these properties onto social media before they actually launch out to our property portals. But for those agents that are not doing social media, I do fear for them. I do, yeah.
Which kind of brings us on to a little deeper topic of, you know, how do we combine, or how would agents combine the insights of what's working in Australia, you know, within the property market, and how they can, you know, bring that into, let's say, the European UK market, which is slightly behind, not massively behind, but, you know, the tech is coming. I'm seeing it, and it's been, you know, it's been tailored for the market. Where do you see it moving to?
So without a doubt, there is no doubt in my mind now that things are really moving quite heavily on that digital sector. Social media is a real thing. It's a big thing. I've done endless transactions now off the back of social media. And look, it's not from one country to another. We've all got mobile devices, right? And we've all got access to social media. It's got nothing to do with the country. It's got to do with the individual person. And so I think people need to put the fear behind them. Don't worry about the fact that people are going to judge them. This is not about me. This is about the job that we now need to do as agents moving into the future. You know, it's got nothing to do with being here in Australia or in Ireland. And I think, you know, agents that are over there are fortunate, because if we are the more innovative country here, then they can just copy and follow. You know, there's many doors that we had to get through to actually even get to this stage. Just copy and follow. That's all. There's no need to reinvent the wheel.
And you touched on a very, very interesting topic that I have, and that's the fear. You know, the fear of putting yourself out, the fear of what other people think. And in my opinion, we're actually just, you know, there's two sides to the coin. There's, you know, put yourself out. It's going to lead, like you said, to more exposure, more eyeballs. You're going to build your own brand. You know, what were the main difficulties for you in doing that? Because you're doing it, you must say, you're doing it very well. You know, your stories, you're online, your videos are constantly there. What was the main difficulty within that transition from not doing it to actually jumping on and doing it?
So not knowing. because I was one of the first agents who was actually putting property onto social media in a very, very different way. No one realised that you could do real estate this way, including me. And it was a conversation that I had with my husband a couple of years ago. And that conversation was, if I build up my followers and I get the right tribe following me on social media, I wonder if I could actually sell a property on there. And so, you know, that was a scary thought, because the whole industry was like, what are you doing? We've never done it this way. We've only ever done it that way. But I persevered and I pushed through, and I truly believe that, to me, it was just common sense. That's where all the eyeballs are. Someone needs to sell a property, marry the two together. We should be able to do this. And it wasn't just getting the property onto social media. It was the way that it was being done. This authentic style of video content that no one had really ever done before. It was raw and it was unscripted. So we're not used to seeing property like that, right? And I'm sure you guys do it the same way in Ireland. It's a professional video. It's the Hollywood style version of video. It's the beautiful photos. And that's how we launch a property to market. And all of a sudden I was doing it differently. I was doing it the way I felt people wanted to see it. So this was not about the agent. This was all about the people. And it resonated. You know, it really resonated. Now I know that that works. And, you know, some of the obstacles that I had to overcome was really getting over the fear. No one loves to be in front of a camera. I don't think that's something that we naturally just, you know, can do.
Definitely not.
And so it's pushing through that fear, and it is that fear of being judged. But when I started realizing that this wasn't actually about me, this was about the job that I was doing for my vendors and a job that I was doing for the buyers, it seemed to change, you know, when the focus came off me all of a sudden and was more about the people. And then it's just that consistency, right? So being
consistent content, yeah.
Well, you know what, being consistent with anything is hard. Consistent with exercise or diet, you know, and it's the same with social media. So being consistent enough to be posting, now I sort of post about 4 to 6 hours a day. That's a lot of posting every day.
It's a lot of content.
Yeah, that's it. Exactly. So, you know, look, it's a commitment, but it also is my selling tool. It's my listing tool, and it's my marketing tool. So it does need a lot of attention.
Brilliant. So if you were to look at, let's say, just top tips for, you know, for people in the agency looking to start on social media, what would you say?
Start with one platform. I think people bite off more than they can chew initially. And then they try and get their head around Instagram and LinkedIn and followers and Facebook and sponsoring, and they just bite off more than they can chew. Start with one platform and just get your head around that and do it really well. My recommendation would be Facebook. So if, you know, the viewers don't have a Facebook business page, they need to get one, because that's where you can sponsor a lot of these posts if you need to, and that's where you can get all your analytics. But I think people just simply bite off more than they can chew.
Brilliant. Okay, so in any other tips in terms of tools and tips, or what are Novak doing for the future? What are your visions like for, you know, the next 2 or 3 years?
Yeah, so look, now that we know that digital and social media is a real thing, and it really does work, and it helps people. That's the most important thing, especially during something like COVID, where we needed to get information out to people on a mass scale. We were able to do that, right, with these social media channels. So it's really just going to be more of the same, just on scale now. Now we know this is very scalable. And that was the hard part, trying to work out how once we realized this was a real thing, then it was trying to work out, how do we make this scalable? So we now have a media department, an in-house media department. We've got a proper studio set up here. So rather than, you know, just the iPhone, which I use 90% of the time, guys, don't get me wrong, but we also have a proper studio set up here. So yeah, it was just, you know, trying to get through all those doors and work out the best way forward. But now it's just, yeah, getting this sort of on more of a mass scale now.
Okay, Lisa, I'm cognizant of your time here. I know you don't have much more, so I'm going to thank you very much for joining us. I'll put Lisa's details in the comments, guys. If anyone wants to reach out, I'm sure her team will be happy to give some insights. Thanks again. I know it's getting late over there.
And I get so many Irish followers. I just want to say thank you to you guys. I get a lot of people from Ireland following me. So I just wanted to say thank you so much. I really appreciate all the support.
Brilliant. Lisa, thank you very much. And
thank you, Kenneth.
Cheers. Please tune in again next week, guys, for an episode with Sam Hunter from Home Search. And I look forward to seeing you again.
See you later.
Brilliant. Thanks, Lisa. Bye-bye.